Hampton High School is a white school, Mrs. Jackson.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm aware of that.
Virginia, still a segregated state.
Your Honor, you of all people should understand the importance of being first.
How's that, Mrs. Jackson?
Well, you were the first in your family to serve in the armed forces, U.S. Navy, the first to attend university.
What's the point?
I plan on being an engineer at NASA, but I can't do that without taking them classes at that all-white high school. And I can't change the color of my skin. So I have no choice but to be the first, which I can't do without you, sir. Your Honor, out of all the cases you're gonna hear today, which one is gonna matter 100 years from now? Which one is gonna make you the first?
Yes, what a powerful clip, and I'm letting you guys know, welcome to Think About It Reviews, where we're reviewing Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures is directed by Theodore Melfi. It is starring Taraji P. Henson. We also have Octavia Spencer as Dorothy, Janelle Monáe as Mary Jackson. The likes of Kevin Costner. We have Jim Parsons, who plays basically a racist Sheldon. Now, the budget of this film was at $25 million, and it did take over $32.4 million. I believe they even took the top spot from Star Wars World 1, finally. It's about 3 African-American women who work at NASA, who are in different kind of... Let's say Catherine Taraji P. Henson, she's a mathematician. We Octavia Spencer, Dorothy, she is more of kind of takes charge of all the girls that are in the NASA industry. She's really definitely the supervisor, but she doesn't have the title of supervisor. And along this film, we learned that she is actually a freaking genius herself. Then we have Mary Jackson, who doesn't get credit as an engineer. She can't become an engineer, not only because she's a black woman, but because she's a woman. All 3 have different aspects and something they're really, really good at, but the one who springs forward through all this, who really kind of gets the ball going, is technically Mary, but it's Catherine. And Taraji P. Henson in this film was great. All the acting was fantastic. I mean, this film, hands down, had moments like the clip you saw in the very beginning. There's moments like that throughout the film by all the actors that they each have their shining moment to deliver a line, a speech, and it really grasps onto you. The number one thing about film, and when you present characters, is you have to make a character likable. You have to have us rooting for that character. And Taraji P. Henson was so subtle when she had to be, yet when she had to be aggressive and she had to be outspoken, she was, but not too much, like in her role as Cookie in Empire and a lot of her other roles. She was fantastic in this film. But what's so great about this film is they present this woman, Catherine, who's a mathematician who really keeps to herself, but she knows she has the brains to beat everybody else. And boy, wow, is she a likable character. I'm just rooting for Catherine. She has to, of course, deal with the racism amongst everybody, and this is taking it back to where Martin Luther King, where racism was an all-time high. I mean, hell, they had whites only, blacks only, water fountains, bathrooms, especially the bathrooms. There was one particular part in this film where Catherine has to use the bathroom. She has to go run like half a mile just to go use the blacks only bathroom. But when she comes back and she's doing her work and time goes by, she goes and reaches for a cup of coffee, and nobody wants to drink out of that coffee because she touched it. Now, I thought in the film that should have been, they should have just used that, her getting a cup of coffee, and there's a racial tension. Everybody doesn't want to have any coffee because she touched it. And I thought, well, why did they really need to showcase her running half a mile to the bathroom and coming back? I mean, I think we did get the whole sense of like so much racism and stuff when she went to go get that coffee. But there is a good reason why they showcase her running half a mile to the bathroom. I'm just saying, it's a great I was questioning some of the direction and some of the things that were presented in this film, but it all pays off, especially towards the end. This is a character that I could really get on board for, and you really root for her because a lot of people they see her as this black woman there, check my numbers, you can check it all you want, but they're perfect, really putting their nose down on her. But it's not only her story, it's also Dorothy's story, it's also Mary Jackson's story. And I think who comes out of this is Mary. I wanted to root for a lot, but I feel like her story didn't pay off as much as the other characters. Dorothy, her character is another character that we really root for and we really feel for. We get the sense of what she's going through in her everyday life. She doesn't get the proper respect. Kirsten Dunst looks down on her. Yes, Kirsten Dunst is in this movie. But along the way, she uses her brain to get where she needs to be and where she tries to climb up the ladder. And I applaud that. And that's what really captured me in this film as well, was more of Catherine's story and Dorothy's story. I think Dorothy's story was a great secondary kind of story. And of course, Mary came and kind of made you root for her as well. But I just feel like her story just wasn't a great payoff. But there was a little bit too much going on in the film, as they balanced it well in maybe the first act, but once it got to the second and third act, they didn't balance it as well as I thought they were going to. Kirsten Dunst, the one thing I have to say, I didn't mind her accent. I didn't mind what she was trying to do. I noticed it, but I didn't mind it. It wasn't horrible, but I could have used Kirsten Dunst without the accent. I'm just saying. It's a 2-hour film. It's a long film, but you know what? I did not feel any of it. I was engaged from beginning to the very end. The music was great. Pharrell Williams did the soundtrack, or did most of the music in here. You could totally tell it's him. It did kind of creep me up a little bit, like, okay, this sounds like I'm listening to a Despicable Me soundtrack. I thought some of his music works in the very beginning and some places here and there, but then other music I thought worked better, like with Ray Charles's track was on here, or just the overall soundtrack, the overall orchestra kind of music, you know, the uplifting music. I thought that worked in here. And then sometimes Pharrell would come in with his music and it just didn't really fit. The tone already kind of shift. There was different kind of tones I felt just slightly throughout the film, but the pacing otherwise was actually really fantastic. I really felt like it was just constantly moving. It was constantly giving these characters something to do. There was constant conflict, inner conflict, of course, conflict that you wouldn't normally see in the film, where they have to, because I was waiting for the, oh my god, okay, something's like the tropes. I was waiting for the tropes of these characters, but thank God there isn't really that many tropes. There actually wasn't any tropes that you normally see in these type of films, honestly. And I would discuss them, but it would be kind of going into spoiler territory. But let's just say there's nobody dying in the film. There's nobody who's just really knocked down and then they have to lift themselves back up. There's a little bit of that with Catherine, but I think they do an excellent job in not really doing the lazy tropes. If there was any tropes, it wasn't lazy like most other films, and you could blatantly see what you see time and time again with other films. Yes, with some of the special effects-y, yes it was. And what do you know, Scream Queen Chad is in the film. Chad is in the film. Hopefully this film is really kind of just shows you that spirit, the spirit of not color, but the spirit of Americans, and we are Americans, and they really hit you with that, especially with the Russians and, you know, that big space race when JFK was there. They really hit you of the American spirit, and that's what I want. I want the American spirit, not the divide between what race and this and that. No, we are Americans. We are different in our own way, but yet we are definitely the same, and I think this film really presents that. And I think I really enjoyed the film and what its message is, even though it's really in your face. But sometimes you need a film that directed really great. Loved some of the shots and stuff. That really is just the overall positive kind of film, and I think people should watch this. So thank you guys for listening. I'm Dan McIntosh Son. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate the video if you like it. Comment below. Gotta hear you guys' thoughts. Grab a seat. Make sure you got some good popcorn to eat. I'll see you at the cinema.